Hi guys, I hope you people will be doing fine. So this is Naeem Bukhari, CEO and founder of Future Pakistan International. So let me share the most important thing with you people. Means the things through I passed. Actually, when I was kid and I was trying to study a lot of things simultaneously, so number of questions in my mind means how I can achieve my academic goals, how I can plan my academic goals. That's the important thing. So same in this case, I know number of you people, millions of people around our students are still thinking and have same sort of questions in their mind, how they can build their career, how they can start their research, how they can study, which kind of field they should choose, which one is important, how they can get connected, and how they can go for innovations. So let me share what is Future Pakistan International. Future Pakistan International is an international organization. Started its work back in 2015, initially by launching University of Haripur annual magazine, restoring hope to create writing opportunities for students. So basically, when you start your undergrad, graduate, or master or PhD study, or when you feel some sort of issue in your society or in your community, and you usually think about some sort of solutions. So Future Pakistan International aim to provide great kind of platform where you can go for solutions within a minute.